This is the triple effect. The triple effect is based on our life balance and laws that govern the seen and unseen. These universal laws are interpreted as three: do, say, and feel. The triple effect. As in the understanding of human engagement or interaction, we must assess the three to connect and find balance. We will explore universal laws that affect us all, one way or another, and they are all around us. Our show is centered around the theme of balance and polarity in order for us to make and keep connections, which, if done with the right energy, will elevate our being to attain our highest capabilities. Please join the conversation. All right. Hey, welcome. It's your host, Rashid Hill of the Triple Effect. I have my man, Gary Harris, here today. We're going to go live here. And today we're going to go off script a little bit, but we want you to know that it's raw. It's us. It's having a good time. And, there's a few things that, happen in the news. There's things that, we got going on in our lives, and there's some good, there's some bad. It's just normal, everyday stuff, but with a twist. We're going to talk a little bit about these issues. We're going to talk about community. We're going to hit on, maybe some wellness tips, wellness issues that maybe some of us have or going through. Maybe we know somebody that may be having some challenges that impact us in one way or another. So I really want, audience, I really hope that, our signal is going to stay with us today. Video, audio, you never know. So sometimes, I mean, it's interesting because I've been in meetings all week, and here I am. I come home today, and the meetings that I've been in have been about connections and carriers, and with T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon this week. And they were talking about, they were talking about connectivity. They're talking about high-speed internet and the next level, like 5G, and what that's going to do. So it'd be interesting to have a little conversation about 5G and how, the president is kind of having issues with my man in China and his Huawei, his products being sold in the U.S. So very interesting. I actually wrote an article about that. So, it's just funny that I had opportunity to sit in on these meetings, and because there's a contract with these carriers, and there's been different iterations of it, and every year there's some new technologies that come out, and so there's opportunities to have these conversations and hear what they're doing to improve their networks and what they're going to do for the Department of Defense and the government and so on and so forth. So yeah, really interesting stuff. So we'll hit on that a little bit because I really like technology, emerging technologies, and some things like that, and definitely want to explore whatever really is out there that maybe we can have that conversation that impacts the people in a way that is beyond ourselves. So without further ado, if you've been watching podcast broadcast, you know that our second episode did have Mr. Gary Harris, and I gratefully appreciate Mr. Harris coming back, spending some time with us today, and we want to dive a little bit more into what he's got going on and some of the things that he wants to talk about, and so I was happy that he took the opportunity to sit in today and join me on this conversation. So welcome, Mr. Gary Harris. I appreciate your time. How's it going today?
I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me on again. I'm just glad to be here, and yeah, it's a great day out. So thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, speaking of a great day, I remember seeing a couple of posts up and on social media, and man, you look like you was enjoying yourself on the beach.
Yes, man. I love the beach. I love the water. I only get in maybe knee deep, but but I love going out there. You know, it's relaxing to the mind, you know, the body, the spirit, and on top of it, it's free for us, you know, out here in San Diego. So,
That's what's up. See, that's what's about San Diego. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Southern California, man. That's the life. You know, I grew up, you know, in Texas, East Texas, and every time you watch TV, all the shows out in, you know, California, Hollywood, and, you know, Los Angeles, and all this kind of stuff. And so you come out here, and it's like, man, I'm like an arm's length away from all this stuff. You know?
Yes.
So it's cool. Yeah. So you're right, man. I mean, coming from Texas and trying to go back to Texas is a vacation, but hey, being right here, oh yeah, right down the street.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. So how the kids, man? I know you take the kids out there and they enjoy that beach too.
Yeah, they really do. My son is the reason why I actually get in the water. I don't necessarily prefer to get in, but he wants to get in. So I'm like, okay, we can go knee deep, and that's about it for me. My daughter, not too much, but yeah, we just go out there, have a good time, walk around, you know, sometimes grab something to eat, sometimes just stay for like an hour. That's about it. But I love it. You know, I really do. I really enjoy it.
Oh man, that's good. You know, and that's one of the things that, you know, I try to relay something that, you know, some positive, something that does have a connection, you know, that we can all kind of relate to. And, you know, a long time ago, me and my wife, we were engaged in marketing some health products. And the main kind of ingredient, so to speak, of that product was negative ion. And what we came to understand was negative ions are natural. They're like vitamins in the air. And the most prevalent place that these negative ions reside is on the beach, is near the ocean. And so like early in the morning, you know, when you kind of see that mist hanging around, you know, if you kind of engage somebody that regularly goes out at that time, you'll find out that they feel a little better. They feel a little more light, you know, they feel clean and, you know, kind of that whole kind of a spiritual, I guess, kind of effect to it. And so when you say, you know, that, you know, you enjoy that and you have that good feeling, you're having a good time with the kids, then, you know, from what I understood of negative ions, you know, it gives you that euphoria, it gives you that kind of that feeling. And so I think that's really a draw for a lot of people going to the beach and being out there around that natural, you know, feeling that not just nature, you know, it's free.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know free. You say free in one way, but it's like free in the freest sense, you know what I'm saying? You feel like, hey, I'm just out here with the environment and feeling like, hey, there's nothing bothering me right now. You know, you had that free feeling. So yeah, the ocean is definitely, it's great for the soul, great for the spirit, great for health. And health and wellness is definitely an area that I believe is part of this law of balance and polarity that I love to kind of roll back into any topic that we bring up, knowing that the law of balance is really everybody, human engagement, interacting in order to figure out how do we get back to center? How do we bring some type of balance back to our lives? And you really kicked it off with a good point of, yeah, that the beach, man. I mean, so many people connect with that. And I believe that has a lot to do with just really getting back to that clean, pure, you know, free feeling with nature. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's weird that you say that because that's how I feel. Like I feel when I go out there, I'm free. It's like it kind of takes me out of, you know, the everyday life cycle, the rat race, and it puts me just in this like, for this moment, like everything goes away, you know, and you're actually just looking at the rocks and the sand, and it kind of just takes you into a whole different, you know, like feeling. So you're right. That's interesting that you say that. Wow. Yeah, it's like when you said it like that, it's like, man, that's exactly how I feel when I go out there. Yeah, it just takes me away. Like here you are. You're just in your, you know, your own zone.
That's great though. So I guess, you know, knowing that today is a very special day, you know, one of our, you know, I know your best friend and definitely a person that I respect so much, and I consider him a great friend of mine as well, Mr. Mike Love. Being that it's his, you know, special day and all, look, man, you might as well take him out to the beach. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah, the beach is cool. The beach is definitely cool. Yeah, tonight different plans, you know. Yeah, that caught me. Yeah.
He would be a little surprised.
Yeah, that would be different. Like, hey, I said we're going out. Nope, we're going to the beach. You enjoy this with me. Have a seat, bro. So no, yeah, definitely. I mean, well, technically it was yesterday that his birthday was. Today we're celebrating, and yeah, just looking forward to having a good time with them. Yeah, like you said, definitely great friend of ours, great leader of We Will Rise. So yeah, definitely show him some love.
That's all, man. Yeah, really, you know, enjoy, you know, the times that we do have the dialogue, and I don't know if you witnessed some of the fun he be having on his way to work, because he's in his car, man.
I told him, I look at him, nope, I don't want no part of it. You know, we were roommates, so I had to hear him in the morning. I ain't trying to hear that. Nope. And I tell him it is a good thing because, like I said, it does. Like, people don't understand seeing people happy makes you happy. And when you see people just enjoying themselves in life, it's like it connects with you. I understand how you could definitely get that energy from it. But for me, I'm like, I know you my whole life. Shut up. So, yeah, it's different for me. It's like, you know, but I definitely, on, you know, the realness of it, I do understand why he does it and what it does for people. So, you know, like, yeah, it's a good thing.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's fun, you know. I mean, because a lot of times I don't really pay attention to the like Instagram and stuff like that until I'm sitting in traffic on my way to work, and then I start kind of checking the different devices. And here I am, you know, 6:15, 6:30, and I'm sitting there at a light, you know, and I'm scrolling through, man. And I'm click, and I'm like, and I'm like, you know, he gets it, you know, he gets it.
Jamming away, yes. Like I said, we were roommates, man. He just 4:30, 4:45, just music, like, come on, man. And I just start banging on the wall. Oh, sorry. But that's, you know, that's what people need. Me, I need like about an hour before I can, you know, maybe 2 for that loud music. But yeah, it's it gets people going. Yeah,
and that's, you know, so that, I mean, that kind of, you know, like you said, you know, people vibe with happiness, you know, and you know, it's contagious. You know, a lot of times we don't, you know, whatever we're going through, and even though social media is a distraction, but at the same time, we can utilize it as a good distraction. And like you said, when you see somebody that's having a good time and doing just innocent fun, and you know, I mean, you know, like singing in the shower or singing on the road. I mean, it's just like, it just lifts your spirit, you know, and that's cool. So, like, what would be your morning ritual? You know, something that you do in the morning that you kind of consistent, like, hey, this is I'm on autopilot. This is what I do every day.
I definitely, well, I would say in the last year or two, not every morning, but most mornings I play I get on YouTube and play like a motivational video or something, or motivational something, a song, sometimes a song, but that would like inspiring to me. A lot of times it is a video, like on YouTube. On my phone, I already have, like, if I click in motivational video, it's Les Brown, it's E.T., it's Inky Johnson. And it's, you know, people on YouTube create videos where sometimes they'll put a bunch of different voices, you know, the Zigglers and the Rome, and they'll put it together and then add different, like, you know, videos with the audio of the people, and they'll put it together in like a quick little 5-minute, 6-minute, you know, sometimes 10. So like when I'm in the shower, that's playing, because it's like the first thing I want to feed myself is positive thoughts or positive energy. So that's a lot of times, you know, the first thing that like I do, because what I used to do was I'd get up and it was Facebook. And it was at the time, it would be something like a fight or something with racism or something I didn't want to see. And it was like, that was how I started my morning. And it would like, you know, it would turn my day like, oh, now I'm going to work angry.
Yeah.
And then you're in traffic and then it's the road rage. So you're already going to work not happy. So I learned that, you know, the motivational videos for me puts myself in a better positive mood on my way out the door.
Oh, wow. That's good stuff. Because that was something that I remember my coach used to tell me when I was in Texas and I had some trouble, you know, at work and dealing with, you know, employees and, you know, just the drama, man. It was just ridiculous and it was draining. And I had a coach I had to call every Sunday. He was in Hawaii, actually. And, you know, we talked and that was one of the things he just, you know, in the morning times, because I really wasn't listening to anything. And I was kind of in the midst of writing my book, and then I kind of stopped that. So I was just really feeding off of, okay, hey, here's my situation. What do you think I should do? And one of the things that, he told me, listen to something positive, you know, find a speaker that you like, video that you like. And my cousin, the same thing. He's a motivational speaker. He played with the NFL before. And so he's always been just real energy, you know, and high energy. And he kind of gave me some people to listen to. And so that was something that I started doing. And man, it's just so powerful, man. It really is going.
It definitely is. I will add one thing that changed my mornings. It was a great thing. You know, reaching out to you, and you gave me your book, 8 Ways to Be 10 Times Better. And you had a point in there, though, about, you know, setting the clock earlier a little bit. And it was like, that really had an impact on me, because what it did is, one, it just gives you more time, but it allowed me to leave earlier. So it's like less traffic, less, you know, stress in the morning of, okay, I got to get running, you know, and you're rushing. And it's like even 10, 15 minutes earlier than you normally get up makes a tremendous difference, you know, at least it did in my life.
Yeah.
So just want to throw that out there. Yeah.
No, and you're right. I mean, and a lot of times when I was writing the book, then, you know, I was doing a lot of research as well. And some of the information I had for years, but some of it, it was just kind of at the time and things I would hear, or, you know, things me and my wife would talk about, but, you know, always learning from my environment. If it was somebody speaking, or if it was something I saw and I took something from that event, you know, and so there's been a number of people that I've listened to that talked about different ways to kind of get your morning going. And Bob Proctor, he mentioned that as well. And this has pretty much got me on track when I was writing my book and I had my coach and everything. And I was kind of in that zone when I finally got through some drama at work. I just got into this zone and started writing and putting all that into the writing. But I remember listening to Bob Proctor, and he talked about, you know, he always talked about the paradigm shift and, you know, the different laws. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute as well. I was doing some research and came across some things that I remember him, you know, basically teaching me based upon all the lessons that I've listened to that he's authored. And he would talk about a story where somebody had asked him for advice on writing the books, and they got this writer's block. They can't get it, you know, going. And he wanted to know kind of, where's your energy? You know, what part of the day are you kind of most alive, or really, you know, what are you, a morning person, night person? And when the person said that they were a morning person, and he said, okay, then why don't you get up an hour earlier and write for that hour, and versus trying to kind of write, you know, throughout the day and just never get it done. And they just never thought about that. It just literally never came to their mind that that's all they needed to do was shift, you know, a little bit. And ET is probably the most prolific when it talks about, you know, basically not sleeping in a sense. But yeah, you know, getting up consistently early, maybe sleeping 2 to 3 hours. You know, when you have this one school of thought, you know, in the medical world talking about you need to sleep 8 or 9 hours a day. And then you got this motivational speaker over here. Look, I get 2 hours in, I'm good. You know? So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I definitely think it's a balance. You know, I think if you were sleeping 2 hours every day, it would kill you. If you were doing 9 hours, that'd kill you too. That's way too much. But yeah, I think it's, definitely with ET, I think it's, him, for me, when I hear him say things like that, it's like, you just got to strike when the iron's hot. It's like, if you want to reach your goal, you got to be consistent and just go after it.
Yeah.
Sleep can't be the reason that, I was tired. And it's like, yeah, like, that's what I'm learning. It's like, dang, I can't say that no more. Like that don't work. Everybody gets tired. So it's like, yeah, I gotta, something else, something gotta be, but no, that's good. That's good.
Now, and like I said, speaking of wellness and health and all that, I mean, I know that you had an opportunity to gather, a knowledge and definitely elevate your skills on wellness through the real life skills training as well as facilitating, and I remember, I had opportunity to come to a couple, and I honestly felt so good about going to the event that I really would love to have went, consistently, because that just being there, that information that, was presented is just so on point. And it was so different from, going to a seminar or a conference and you hear these guys, saying, I mean, they're good. The quality is great. The information is great. Take nothing from them, but it just felt a little more personal. It felt like it's simple, but it's hitting every cylinder, man. And so that's what it just really felt good. And I really, hopefully we'll be able to create something like that together, where we can benefit more people, in the community, because I think that's really on point with what needs to be delivered, locally to get that impact. I think they're doing great, in that particular organization, and something that we can incorporate as well, because obviously we have the facilitator right here. So
yes, getting back into that. Yeah, no, real life skills, it's awesome for me. I went through the course multiple times, and it's when I first went through, the facilitator, Mr. James Robbins, was like, every time he teaches it, it's something different because it's different people in the class and it's an interactive, setting. So you hear different things, even though it's the same curriculum, it's still, hearing it from a different facilitator gives a different spin on it. Like I said, and it's just positive motivation that's just like hammered into you, but not hammered into you like uncomfortable. It's like, no, the setting it's nice. It's a really comfortable setting, but like you said, it's stuff that it hits on different points for different people. So each lesson is like, it's compiled of quotes, and it's like every quote is not going to connect with you, but there's one in there, or a lot that is, and it's just, it just reminds you that you are somebody, and that you can do what you believe in if you really believe it. But
wow.
It's great for me. It really is. It's for everybody. It truly is. So
no, I appreciate that. I think more people, definitely need to take advantage of that. One of the things that I did, I was going through my notes, and just some of the stuff that is mentioned in there, just here's like a few quotes that they engage the audience and help us to participate in the quotes that are brought about. And here's just a few. The starting point of all achievement is desire. That was by Napoleon Hill. Action is the foundational key to all success. Picasso. Success is not an accident, it's a choice. I mean, these are, like I said, it's not some big long speech. It's just like, boom.
Yeah. One of the things, like when I went to a class, Mr. James Robbins was like, he was like, studies say that, the average person thinks 60,000 thoughts a day.
Wow.
He was like, the problem is that most of us think the same 60,000 thoughts. So he was like, different. And how do you change that? He was like, just new experiences. So you go to a class you've never been to, you read a book you never thought you would read, you go to a place you never, experienced, you try a new restaurant, and all of those produce new thoughts, which take you to other thoughts. And it's like just those simple things that he talks about. Yeah. And it's like, it just shifts the way that you think. And it's like, wow, like that's crazy. Yeah. Because just something simple, I've never tried this restaurant. So just going there, now you're thinking differently other than, okay, I'm just going to go to my normal, comfort zone where you walk in, you already know the person behind the counter. They know what you want. It's like, bam, bam, bam. So you're not even thinking. It's like autopilot. And it's like, but when you like try something new, it's like, man, now you're thinking differently. So it's like simple things like that they talk about. And it's just great. It just hits home for me.
No, absolutely. And I know, so other people that we've known, definitely, I think got some benefit out of that as well. And yeah, I mean, this one quote, man, just really summed up what you just said. To change your life, you must change your thoughts. I mean, boom.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, but when you say it like that, it's like, huh? And then when you add a little context to it, it's like, oh, yeah, that's easier than I thought. It's a lot easier than I thought. But yeah, it's really good stuff, really good for me. I recommend it for everybody.
Great. No, I look forward to that. It's interesting. I mentioned that we've been having these little events at work, and we have this contract, right? And kind of speaking of health and wellness, I was like, wow. There's this conversation, I guess, about new technology and health, and kind of like when you have the electricity in certain areas of the world, and there's houses near them. People tend to say, "Hey, look, this electricity, the effects of this electricity is either making my family sick or is making people, ill. Maybe some people are dying." And so there's always this concern when a lot of wires or antennas, satellites or whatever you have, or radio frequency receptors are popping up around your community. Well, with 5G, what we found out is, we have got 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G is what's coming. Well, interesting enough, I'm doing a little research on it, just trying to get smart on it, and I come across a lot of these articles about in certain cities that have these antennas. And the reason why there's antennas that's very visible is because 4G is kind of a higher frequency, and actually 5G is lower frequency. And so what we found out was they have millimeter waves, microwaves, that are actually more dense in certain areas, and they expand or whatever, and they give you more bandwidth, depending on the low and the high frequency. So with the bandwidth needing to expand, they need more bandwidth to run some of these systems, like the 4K TVs. I think there's like an 8K TV now with that level of clarity. You got to have more bandwidth and the data. So you got Cox talk about the the gigahertz and the gigabyte or whatever giga speeds that they're doing. Well, that's cool, but now you got these carriers that are doing that, and so there's a lot of companies out there. They're going into these communities and they're putting up their antennas. And interesting enough, with the more bandwidth, they need to have a line of sight in order to have the highest level of connectivity. So with 5G, they say that 5G, and the easy example that they bring up is downloading a movie. So you take 4G LTE, which is pretty much the fastest out there now, then it may take, maybe, 4 minutes depending on what you're using. And it may take, 45 minutes to download that 2-hour movie, right? That's best case scenario. Well, with 5G, it takes approximately 2 to 4 seconds.
Wow. Wow.
So it's almost like, you click and hey, it's like, whoa. And so now that right there is absolute best case. So this is when this is line of sight. So basically with the literal, connection of utilizing this low bandwidth, or the low bandwidth that basically gives you more entry and exit, then in that particular setting, it's got to be line of sight. So nothing can be between those microwaves. And so, which is a very tricky thing, because the problem with that concept is that somebody that, hey, we've been doing 4G, no problem. Nobody's even talked about health issues. But all of a sudden, we hit this 5G. I'm thinking you need more power, you need more, microwaves. So you're saying I need all this more, and then you're telling me that's got to be line of sight. So what if I step in front of that wave?
Yeah, that wow.
Right? Yeah. If it's that powerful, right? And so I was like, whoa, that is kind of weird. And so people were afraid because they were like, wait a minute, where's the test at? How do we know this is safe? And then there's people, that in a certain rural area, they'll have a kid get sick or something, and they're like, see, the towers did this. Well, okay. But most of the companies have to go through a rigorous test and be evaluated. And, there's a lot of protections against all that. So what they talked about with T-Mobile and Verizon, as well as AT&T, they talked about what they're doing and how their systems work and the infrastructure they're putting in place. So that's where we kind of got a better understanding of 5G. So yeah, you will have that. But if you have some type of interference, they said that this is how sensitive it is. Those particular microwaves, you may have an antenna over here and then your phone over here. But if you put your hand there, you lose signal. It will not go through a building wall. So now we have radio waves where it actually will 4G. That's what's so weird. I'm like, how does 4G basically go everywhere, and 5G is so much faster and better, but I can't connect to it. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of odd. So, but they really went into that, because that was kind of my question was, I'm inside a government building, and it's a heck of a time trying to get a signal. I have to go here. I got to walk over there. I got to get by the window. It's craziness. And so they say, yeah, it's always an issue with the bases. So 5G, basically, you take 5G, but everybody has the 4G lines or the 4G connectivity that's running over fiber optics. They keep the same lines because they're not going to go out there and just create more lines, but they're going to run an additional 5G connectivity on those 4G lines. And so basically what will happen is you're connected. And so just like now, when you go to certain areas, you get a better signal than some other areas. But some areas you just don't get no signal. Well, you still have a signal and you have that same company. That just means that you went from 4G connectivity and, oh my gosh, we don't have, the connectivity in this area. So you're not going to lose it, but you're going to have to drop down to 3G, something like that. So same thing, 4G LTE is the technology that's out now. And so they're saying that they're going to run it over those same lines. But, if there's 5G available, guess what? You're going to get it. But if there's some type of blockage, then it's going to shift to the 4G until it can get back to the line of sight to connect to the 5G. So, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of health concerns with all these antennas that's popping up, because I think originally the people kind of said, hey, let's get it out there, let's get it done. And they start putting up all these antennas everywhere because Internet of Things takes a lot of sensors and a lot of connectivity. Smart cities are built on sensors that are on every item. So you got the cameras, right, that are on the traffic lights. And this is just part of that smart city concept. So 5G, Internet of Things, IoT, blockchain, and the 5G, blockchain, IoT, blockchain. And so those in the smart cities, so these are technologies that basically work hand in hand. And they're coming, they're gonna, and so at work we have a joke, we talk about, yeah, that's straight up Skynet,
okay, when like as you're telling me one first, I'm not a tech guy at all. And how I feel about technology is like, man, I definitely appreciate it. I love it. I think it moves us forward. But when you said that joke, like I'm like an iRobot guy. Like I'm like, they're about to come and take over. But when you talk about the antennas and the wellness, I've never thought about it in the sense of affecting our health that way.
Yeah.
That's very interesting because I didn't think about the prolonged effect of the signals because going back, there's nothing to test it on. So there's no, time period exactly where we could test it. They're testing it on us.
Hey, yeah.
It's very interesting that you bring that up. But yeah, I had no clue that was like an issue, thinking of the antennas, because I see, cell phone towers popping up, and I never think that the connectivity of the signal is going to affect me or my children's health. Like, that's very interesting that you brought that up. Like, wow. Yeah, I just, it's a new thought. See, it's like, and it just took me, it's a new thought. That's like, now I have to address that and do some research myself. That's an interesting, wow.
Wow. Interesting that when I listen to the carriers talk about it, of course, they're going to give you hey, we've done our research, we got our clearances, we got our license, permits, and I get it, right? But when he talked about kind of overlaying the 5G connectivity over the 4G LTE, then that makes a little more sense, because I'm like, okay, how do I get connectivity in this building? Because if there's a problem with line of sight, then there's going to be a problem if I'm not outside. And so they kind of went over that as well. And there's something called V2X, which is vehicle to everything, basically. And that's where the Internet of Things comes into play. But yeah, at the end of the day, there's people out there saying, wait a minute, with all of this connectivity, we're right in the middle of all these microwaves. And where is the studies on how that's going to affect us when more people are connected? When you're talking, I forget what the TVs were before, plasma screen, then you get into the LED. Now they're talking 8K. They're talking 8,000 pixels or something. I'm like, what? Yeah, so yes, that's a lot, right? And so to make sure that signal is giving you what that 8K is putting out, that takes a lot of juice. And so that's what they're trying to do, is catch up with that. So I was looking at this article, and it talked about the FDA and some of the issues that came up around the 5G and health concerns. And so they say in the U.S., the FDA and FCC, they basically say there's nothing to worry about with this 5G technology and all these antennas. Most studies have not linked radio signals from mobile phones and cell towers to diseases. So that's what the agencies are saying. But then some researchers, got a different opinion about that. They have found heightened risks from cellular networks, and additional research will be coming over a few years. HSBC Securities said that in a new report, the World Health Organization International Agency for Research on Cancer classified cellular radio waves as a possible carcinogen in 2001, as it undertaken a high priority study seeking a more definitive answer. So they're basically saying that these microwaves from radio frequencies, RF waves, actually are a possible cancer-causing element in the air.
I would, I would not put that to the side. I can believe that. You see, just a lot of people. You see, it may not be actual diseases, but you see, the opioids crisis is people are taking a lot more pills. Anxiety, depression is through the roof on most people, and it's like certain things. We don't know exactly, but it's like, yes, that can definitely have an impact. I would definitely believe that. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, you got with the headaches, and there's this unexplained, type of things going on with a person. And yeah, I mean, because they definitely with electricity, a lot of them, I know they've proven that has an effect on people as well. When you live close to these electric farms or whatever, where they have like the central, electric, it's definitely devastating, and that's some serious wattage if you're close to one of those. And they, let me see, they said the race to 5G could be slowed by alleged health concerns related to radio frequencies. These concerns have been around as long as mobile phones, but there have been a number of recent regulatory and public initiatives demanding delays or outright bans on the rollout of 5G. Very interesting. It said in In Belgium last month, for example, the government halted a 5G test over difficulty in measuring radiation emissions. And Switzerland has also started to delay 5G rollouts and will create a radiation monitoring system before they let it start again. And in New Hampshire, lawmakers are considering establishing a commission to study the health impacts of 5G networks. And they go on and talk about California. They have banned any new cell towers with 5G as well. Hey, somebody's concerned. So yeah, I mean, and like you said, that's good. I mean, we got to have people out there that says, look, hold on, let's test it out a little bit more, make sure that, that we are right. But then you have the lobbyists, on the flip side of that, are like, hey, we need to go ahead and get ahead of this technology. And it's interesting, I talk about that because, yes, I'm going to throw in some politics for a few seconds. You have the Huawei, manufacturer in China that does, everything. They kind of like the Intel of China. And so they're supplying worldwide these products, electronic products, to run systems, IT and technology, communication systems for big companies all over the world. And so with them basically taking the role of Intel, where Intel said, well, we're not going to build a computer, we're just going to build a chip for the computer that everybody has to use. Well, that's what Huawei did. Huawei basically built systems. Now all these people around the world have these systems in these large corporations, and now 5G is rolling out. Well, either you're going to give me back my system and still pay me, or you're going to go ahead and utilize my 5G on my system that's in your particular building. So my take on, the issue that Trump has with this, Trump being the slickster that he is, he's putting up a fight about, Huawei, we can't allow them to continue doing business with, our big companies and this 5G race, because they're going to be spying on us. They're setting us up to spy on us. And so his idea, I believe, is that put fear in the American people, just like he's always done, right? And say, hey, this Chinese product is horrible. It's going to spy on you. Shut it off. And so he does all of that. And then all these industries come around, and security and FCC, and everybody's like, don't buy from them. Hold on. Let's do some more tests. Okay. And then give it a couple of years. They do all these tests. They roll it out, and then come back and say, hey, we've solved the problem. It's not a health concern. Now you can go ahead and buy from Qualcomm. You can go ahead and buy from... Don't buy from that Chinese guy.
Yeah.
And see, we solved the problem. It's okay now. Of course it's okay now. It was okay back then too. But yeah, I think it's a setup in that respect. Now, I'm not saying that there's not some legitimate health concerns, because I haven't seen any reports and I don't know enough about it. But at the end of the day, I think with, if you got the president jumping in and bad mouthing China about it, come on, dude. It's politics there. Like, look, we're going to stop you from selling in our country, but guess what? We're going to give our manufacturers a chance to catch up with your technology. Guess what? Huawei and Samsung, they basically said, look, that's okay. We're still dealing with the ones over here in UK and everywhere else. Oh, and by the way, we're focused on 6G. So they're like, whatever, we're going to move on to this, and y'all keep fighting that fight over there. So yeah, it's interesting, man. But I hope that they figure it out. I hope that they get some good reports out there, so that people are not more concerned than they have to be. Put some things in place that help us. And one of the products that I had when I was selling some health products, one of them with the negative ions, they actually had a sticker you could put on the back of your phone to cut down on the EMFs, electromagnetic waves that were, coming into the
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm like I said with tech, I'm like, whoo. Let me do my research. Oh yeah. Nah, but that's good stuff, man. It really is.
But yeah, well, so but now, man, I appreciate you taking the time. We definitely have a good time, and every time we get together. So our next meeting, when is our next meeting anyway with We Will Rise?
It was the Zoom meeting was we planned for tomorrow, but nobody really responded. So I was asking Mike, yeah, are we still gonna go through? He said, yeah. So I guess we'll just log on quickly tomorrow. Or yeah, I know you might be on the road, so don't worry. No stress on you.
Absolutely, man. I think that once we get the bylaws and everything set up, and then the positions and everybody understands kind of their role, then we definitely get into the activities and kind of the calendar of events, so to speak. What we can expect. I saw that Miss Love had put out the notice about the Mount Miguel event.
Yes.
So good stuff.
Yeah, because we got to bring that up. We'll bring that up as well, because we definitely got to do I want to do a group thing as well. I'm actually personally, I don't know, I might try to do my own real life skills workshop. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
good,
that'll be. Yeah, might as well. I need to bring it. I was supposed to bring it to the conference last year, but even if I don't do a workshop, I definitely want to bring that just for something, information for people. So
Great.
Yeah, thank you, and so.
All right. Well, hey, what I'll do is we'll go ahead and close this out, man, and but a little bit about like I said, the triple effect is based on the law of balance and polarity. There are so many aspects in the laws, universal laws, that I love to dive into. And like I said, we wanted today to be light. We wanted to just really have a good time with it and let everybody know that, this is not some, all serious, and, this podcast is about just having a good time and benefiting from that. And today, I think we did a good job with that. I really appreciate it, and we could go on and on and on.
Yeah.
But what I really look forward to is getting all, kind of getting our brothers together and having the same type of collaboration on, hey, here's just some things that, are open for discussion, but at the same time, here's some things some takeaways that we got from it, and have some kind of impact on our well-being. And one thing that I used to do with group meetings, at the end of it, I would ask people, what can I do for you? And I would say, everybody say that to the next person, and whatever the response is kind of a commitment that you make with the next person. And, just kind of the whole pay it forward, like,
Oh, yeah.
It could be anything. Hey, give me a call tomorrow at 5 p.m., just whatever. So I think those just little things like that, just get outside of ourselves, I think are good things. So I want to just read a couple of things, and then we'll shut it down until next time. When we are in balance, we can heal, grow, and evolve far more effectively. All of our energy can be utilized for our desired intentions. When we are out of balance, our energy is out of balance and cannot be effectively utilized for maximum performance. A state of inner balance creates inner peace. When you have achieved this state of inner balance, remember it and use it as a reference point. This will increase your awareness of when you go out of balance, so it can be corrected. The point of equilibrium is the balance we seek in all things. So remember that it is about how do we, no matter what happens through our lives, through our days, with our kids, with our spouse, with our, friends, with anybody that we're around, how do we, one, make them feel good about being around us? But number two, if there is some imbalance, how do we get back into balance? So I appreciate your time. Definitely wish you guys an awesome evening, and I will be in touch. I'll get this posted up, and we'll be good to go and get that link out to you.
Yeah, no, I definitely appreciate you for having me on always. Like I said, very supportive. So I appreciate you personally. You said that you used to do things like, what can I do for you? So what you can do for me is one of these nights, you're going to come out with us.
Oh, Lordy.
So now you're obligated to do it. But we'll pick a good one because I know certain things ain't your style. So I know. So we're gonna find one that is right up your alley. And that'll be just once, only one. So
Woo-wee.
yeah,
Man.
bring you back to your DJing days. So that's the goal. Just to give you a little glimpse. So yeah, I ain't forgot. We're gonna get you out one night, one time. So thank you as always, though. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate
Oh, man. All right, man. On that note, hey, man, until next time, we out.
Have a good one.
All right, take care.